Over here is the 2024 Aston Martin Vantage facelift. As you can tell, they've retained the Aston Martin identity. First impression would be the front. The pre-facelift version went down the route of being humble, and I don't think that really was interesting for the Aston Martin brand, because what really happened was this whole area, the grille, was basically carbon fiber, and the body paint would have stopped until here, separating the headlights from the grille. This body paint is called Ion Blue. Now this interior fabric is called Oxford Tan, with the blue piping and the blue stitching accompanied. Now when it comes to seating pipings, I know British car manufacturers are obsessed over this. I saw this in Range Rover. Now this particular Aston Martin Vantage costs 263,000 euros, but judging by its dimensions and maybe its price to some extent, it competes against the Mercedes AMG GT, the Porsche Model 911, and certain McLaren models. Listen to the door sound. Ah, I like this metallic effect you get. Whenever you close the door, it has this metallic touch at the end. Now, it should be noted that German competitors like the Porsche Model 911 and the Mercedes AMG GT, they have interesting door sounds as well. Spokes wheels with a rather interesting brake. This is the first time I've seen brakes like this. Another problem I've just noticed is that sometimes on a dusty day or when your car is covered in a bit of dirt, you'll notice there's a bit of a sticker right here. There's something going on. They kept this for the protection, obviously. These are real exhausts. And 360-degree parking camera with parking sensors at the front and at the rear. I often felt like the Aston Martin and the Porsche Model 911 have something in common, and that would be the consistency. They stuck to the same design for many decades. Underneath the bonnet is a 4-liter V8 engine that produces 489 kilowatts, and it's an 8-speed automatic. Now these are called swan doors. They're very different to the kind of doors you get on something like a Lamborghini, which we call scissor doors. They open upwards, or conventional doors, which are just open completely, in a normal way. But this opens up slightly upwards. And now for the interesting part, the interior of the Aston Martin Vantage. Okay, first thing, I just looked at the door and I noticed you get a Bauer & Wilkins sound system. Wonderful. Now, this kind of interior, the fact that you have so much buttons, it's kind of typical of what I've seen of British coupes. I saw this in Bentley as well, the Bentley Continental. It's interesting. Now let's check out the seating adjustments. So for that, I'll just need to fire things up. You get electric seating adjustments that are on this side, whereas on conventional cars, I've noticed they're on this side of the driver's seat. So it's good. It's really interesting. It's kind of, I think it's like in McLaren. In McLaren, they also have it on this side, I think. It's like a fighter plane. Now the steering adjustment for the steering wheel is here, and you get an actual a stoke almost. Wow, that's good. And it's electrically adjustable. A bit slow, but it gets the job done. And you get massive pallets, just like what I've seen on an Alfa Romeo. Wow, that's great. Or even on a Maserati. Now the steering wheel. The steering wheel is also very interesting. But there's something about the steering wheel that feels a bit thick compared to something like the Porsche Model 911. And I had the same complaint about the Mercedes AMG GT. Now, plentiful buttons right here, but I already noticed a bit of a problem. You get heated and ventilated front seats, right? But just right next to their buttons, you get the traction control button. Why would you put the traction control button too close to the heated seats button? Just be careful to know what you're pressing. Don't press the wrong button by accident, everyone. Now, we'll cover the infotainment system in a moment. Let's check out Practicality. So you get 2 cup holders of fixed sizes, and you get a central console storage, which is very shallow, but honestly, I'm not going to judge it because this is not the point of the segment. You don't really look at Practicality. 12-volt socket with 2 charging ports in there. You get a glove box right here, which I'm not entirely sure how it's supposed... Oh, there's a button right there to open it. Just like in the Jaguar XJ, from what I remember. But the glove box is very, very narrow. Ooh. I mean, who said you get this segment for the Practicality? Oh, and the door bin is very shallow as well. Okay, all right. Doesn't matter. You get the window buttons, which are a bit funny. They're just plastic. That's a bit odd. I mean, I like how you get the beautiful piano black trim right here and everything is nicely detailed. Yet when I look at the window buttons, I'm greeted with plastic. Okay. And when adjusting the mirrors, the entire wing mirror itself moves. What? That's cute. Now you don't get any glasses holder, which is again ironic, because what am I supposed to do on a sunny day when I'm driving my Aston Martin? But you do get interesting sun visors. Now those sun visors are really, really unique. They are exactly like what you'd find on a designer's a store or something. Over here is the start stop button, and it's just right next to the transmission. But then there's also something to notice, that the heated seats and the ventilated seats are soft touch. So there will be occasions where you will accidentally touch them like this. See, it's very sensitive, so you just have to be very careful. But that's the point about this interior, is that it's a bit too busy. Everything is like at your reach, which is good, but then at the same time a bit too busy here with the buttons, and that too soft touch. Now you can adjust the climate control with this, judging by the buttons right here. And now over to the infotainment system, it is small compared to the competitors, like the Porsche Model 911 and the Mercedes AMG GT. This map is very... I mean, it tells you the forest and the built-up areas, but the Volkswagen group, they offer details about the relief and everything. Whereas this is good. I'd say it's better than average, but it's just not on par with Volkswagen, I'd say, with Porsche in particular. Now over here you get the technical details for your Aston Martin. You can even get, wow, you can see the battery voltage and the kilowatts and the Newton meters. Wow, this is great. This is interesting. Nice little details, technical details. Now, like McLaren, I'm under the belief that Aston Martin put more emphasis on performance. They don't really pay much attention to such details like technology or infotainment system, because that was not really the Aston Martin identity. That was not really their history. So here's my conclusion of the Aston Martin Vantage 2024 facelift. If you're looking at a sports car which is more performance oriented with more status on its side, this Aston Martin is for you. To be honest, it boasts more status compared to the McLaren. There's just something about this Aston Martin that seems more class oriented. It's a bit leaning towards Rolls-Royce and Bentley, or I'd say Bentley more, because Bentley was always more sportive. But then the difference is that Bentley is definitely more class-oriented, more comfort-oriented, whereas this Aston Martin reminds everyone that this is meant to be sporty, judging by the interior infotainment system. Even the infotainment system is this humble. This is how amazing this Aston Martin is. Now, compared to the Porsche Model 911 and the Mercedes AMG GT, if you're looking for an infotainment system, this is not for you. This car definitely doesn't have the techiness inside. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos that are on the run. I will see you all next time.